Hey everybody, welcome to the final installation of the Continent episodes of Jeor'n-Dith Folklore 101. We're ending them off with a bang and a trigger warning. Uh, there are mentions of body horror in the coming video. Timestamps are in the description. Skip if you want, don't if you don't. I hope you feel comfortable, and please enjoy the video. Bye! Welcome back everyone. Today is our last lesson on the continents of Jeor'n-Dith, unless something odd happens, such as a continent rising from the sea. But that's not going to happen, there's just not enough room in the sea. Anyways, as always, my name is Taishi, and I am your instructor for... Today's lesson is focusing on the last of the Torins, West Torin. West Torin is allied with North Torin against East and South Torin in the Torin War. They have a specialty for magic. Obviously, all continents can do magic, with some even being able to beat West Torin in specific types of magic. However, Torin is home to the largest number of archmages and holds the most information on performing and learning all types of magic. The first location we will be covering in this lecture is... The Blighted Sea is a section of the sea about half a mile wide that blocks the rest of the world from reaching West Torin by boat. For the vast majority of its existence, the Blighted Sea stopped most, if not all, trade towards West Torin. Fortunately, Astronaut has invented flying machines that will allow trade to return to the entirety of the continent. However, this technology is still in its infancy. Many who try to travel into the Blighted Sea claim that they have been turned around as they sailed closer. Some claimed that their compass started to point in random directions, and many say that the stars grew distorted or even disappeared in some instances. Growing from the sea are weeping willows whose branches sway in the wind and are said to create secret messages. However, the only people who have been able to translate these messages are people who have spent an unhealthy amount of time near the sea. Also growing from the seafloor are massive mushrooms that emit spores. Many say that these spores grant innate magical powers. However, this is not confirmed. In fact, quite the opposite has been confirmed, as many of those who believed these rumors inhaled the spores ended up dead from sudden asphyxiation. When dissected to discover the reason, the doctors found mushrooms growing in the deceased trachea, so once again, do not, for any reason, travel to the Blighted Sea, I beg of you. There is one location unaffected by the Blighted Sea, however I still would not recommend traveling there. This location is the Gilded Harbor of Norholt-Thaldor is the one location that the Blighted Sea does not affect. While it may be the only location where ships from the Naval Sea can access West Torin, I do not recommend using it as it is owned by the infamous Red Gorellon pirates, notorious for raiding and pillaging all corners of the globe just a few years back. The government of West Torin is unable to do anything to shut down this operation, as they do not know how the pirates are keeping the Blight at bay, and they also bring in quite a large amount of merchants as the only open port on the continent. Fortunately, they seem to have transitioned from raiding and ransacking towns and villages to just charging unholy amounts to use their port. Both bad, however the latter much better than the former. The items sold at the harbor are what one might consider illegal. However, once again, nothing can be done about it, as this does bring in quite a bit of money, even from the legal products. While this location is gorgeous, with large and beautiful houses decorated with many golden accents and enormous mosaics, it is also extremely dangerous for anyone to visit, even if you believe yourself to be prepared. Next, we will be covering... The Obsidian Library is a towering structure made entirely from obsidian. Centuries of knowledge are held within its cold black walls. This knowledge is guarded by a group of mages that wield items made from the walls of the library, known as Keepers of Obsidian. The insides of the library are shuffled randomly, making it near impossible to navigate if you aren't helped by one of the keepers, and even then, if you wish for access to the full library, you will need one of the high-ranking keepers, as they have access to rooms that normal keepers don't. If the contents of the library are shuffled, so too are the physics inside, allowing people to walk upside down or sideways in certain places. Some stairways get smaller as you walk them, making you smaller as well to reach smaller rooms. It even leads to doorways hidden behind illusions of walls. One of the most ancient artifacts that I have been shown in the library are the Elder Tomes, a series of enormous books that allow for the summoning of a creature known as the Elder Sentinel. Allegedly, these books can only be used by one mage born every couple human generations. From what I've heard, the Elder Sentinel is a human figure larger than any two of the continents matched together and made from fractal images of the elements with iridescent dragon wings. According to the keepers, the moon Aurorus is actually the eye of this great creature. However, I have not confirmed this myself. That is all the information I have on the Obsidian Library, so we will now be moving on to... The Sky's Optic Sanctum is a sanctuary for one of the artifacts that started the Age of Elemental Ascendance. The Eye of the Tempest is a large ball made from a magical material that is constantly emitting lightning. It has a few indents on it that give the artifact its name. An ovular indent with pointed tips, and two concentric circles inside the oval, giving the illusion of an iris and pupil. The smaller circle is multicolored and gives off warmth. The eye grants its power to those in its proximity. These people have been come to known as the Galestone Stewards and have created the sanctum. According to the stewards, the sanctum was built to refine elemental techniques and keep away those that wish to use the power for nefarious purposes. Their words, not mine. Last I was there, I was told of their prophecy about a chosen one who was born to slay a demon king that gets out of control and attempts to invade the prime material. Allegedly, this happened 6 centuries ago with the 843rd Demon King, Baphomet. But that is everything about the Sky's Optic Sanctum. Our next and final topic is... The Verdant Wisdom Monastery is a refuge in the middle of the Sylvan Reach, founded by the Verdant Abbot. The forest grew around a portal to the Feywild, causing the forest to be infested by all sorts of fairies and fae. But more on to the actual monastery. Its name was given to it as to reach the refuge you must traverse through the many tricks that the Fae have set up, and by doing so, one would show their wisdom. After completing the fairies' tests, however, you are rewarded with a beautiful sight. A ginormous knot of trees in the center of a large clearing that creates the monastery itself. It is very modestly decorated, only really being carvings in the woods and pots that hold flowers from around the world. Very impressive, but very modest. Many live within the monastery, however, only a select few could really call it home. The Veiled Enclave, to be specific. The Veiled Enclave is a group of 5 people that have been given extra abilities by the fairies, as they were the quickest to complete their tasks. Most would call them a cleric, druid, ranger, monk, and witch. However, oddly enough, those 5 are not the only beings in this reach to be empowered by extra-planar creatures, as 3 animals were chosen by the prime elementals of fire, ice, and lightning, respectively. The 3 royal beasts, as they have been dubbed by those in the monastery, are Orsor, a lion given a flaming greatsword, Dermuk, a bear given a great hammer made from ice, and Calith, a wolf given a great spear infused with the power of lightning. These 3 are also thought to be one of the reasons for the start of the Age of Elemental Ascendance. However, the truth of this information cannot be proven. That concludes our lesson on West Torin, home to the largest number of archmages in Jeor'n-Dith. Not only that, but it wraps up our series on the continents of this beautiful world we call home. I do have 2 more lessons before we move on to the next topic, so I hope you join me next time when we discuss most of the locations not affiliated with the government of any one continent.
Can't stop, won't stop, running to the bag. You lose, I've been running, shit, no, I can't come and last. Can't stop, won't stop, running to the bag. I've been working too long, no, there ain't no time for naps. Can't stop, won't stop, running to the bag. I ain't waiting for a handout.